Imagine having an AI-powered search engine for candidate profiles from across the open web and even from within your own ATS. Well, that's exactly what HireTool is. HireTool is a global talent platform that serves all recruiters, from small businesses to the world's largest enterprises. And with 750 million plus profiles from over 45 open web sources and channels and 30 plus integration partners, there's literally something for everyone. Recruiters can find more talent with AI sourcing, send unlimited emails, and integrate with your favorite recruitment tools all in one platform. If you're spending hours looking for qualified candidates, underrepresented talent, and updated contact information, then HireTool is probably what you need for your toolkit. HireTool is a platform that helps great recruiters accomplish more every single day. Check them out at hiretool.com. Hey, HR Famous crew, it's Tim Sackett. What's up? We got a special edition of HR Famous because my best friend, Chris Dunn, called or actually texted JLee and I earlier today and said, I am bailing on you guys because I no longer love you. That's not what he said. He said he had business. Business came up. We always kind of knew that would happen. Jessica, you and I got to spend time together this week. Shared a great dinner. How are you?
I'm good. You guys are best friends. I'm not jealous, but sometimes I do feel a little bit left out that you guys are always just talking and doing things and going places, and I don't get invited anywhere. So that's okay. No big deal. It's fine.
But Chris was jealous this week. Like, I think he got upset that he wanted to be photoshopped into our photo at dinner.
Well, there's always the next time, because guess what? We're all getting like boosted, jabbed up, and I'm going to be more open to traveling now that like I'm going to get boosted. My kids are going to get jabbed. Like the world is our oyster now.
Are you getting the kids jabbed? Is that not even a
Yeah.
question?
Yeah, no, I mean, 100% they're getting jabbed. And thank goodness both of my kids will be eligible starting in December. One already is, and then the second will be. So we're going to be fully jabbed up in this house.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting because, I mean, especially with the announcement recently with the mandates, the federal mandate stuff going through, everybody in the world is losing their mind. I was on at least 2 hours of phone calls today about COVID mandates because, again, we have employees all over, right? They're working out, they're on site at other employers, and so they have their like special processes and mandates and everything else. And I'm just like, it is a complete shit show. It's a complete shit show, Jay. Like, I read an article this past week about California and how the state of California, of course, has a mandate. And yet there's thousands and thousands of public employees in California that haven't gotten vaccinated because they've said, okay, I'm going to take the testing route. I'll wear a mask and you test me every single week. And there's no possible way that they have the capacity to test thousands and thousands of additional people. And so they're just like, okay, we can't do it. So just come to work. That's their answer, right? And this is government. This is their answer. It's totally crazy.
Well, part of the issue, of course, is also like who's going to pay for the testing. So that is a reality. But, regardless of who's paying, at some point, aren't we going to run out of tests? It's so crazy to me. Like, there's just unlimited supply of Q-tips and swabbing things and people to actually do the swabbing. Is that it?
They've already said that. Like, all the manufacturers have said there's no possible way we can meet the demand of what this mandate is going to require. And so, it's just crazy time. And then I heard it was in the middle, I think it was somewhere in Kansas. I want to say it was a Boeing plant, so Boeing, the airplane company. And they decided, nope, we're going to mandate that everybody in our plant's going to get vaccinated. And then so somebody like asked, like, well, how many are actually vaccinated? And it was like less than 50%. And I'm like, you cannot have a manufacturing facility where 3,000 people just walk out and not get, there's just no possible way this can happen. So yeah, like I don't know. I just have a feeling this is all going to end up in a court, room. And it's, by the time it all gets kind of settled out, COVID will hopefully, cross our fingers, knock on wood, be over. And this will all be for naught. But right now it's causing a ton of stress. When I came to see you this week, I actually stopped at SHRM and met with all of our friends over there. And Tony Lee, who is VP editorial, like content kind of guy, high up, said every time SHRM puts on any kind of piece of content that has anything to do with vaccines or COVID, it literally gets 100 times more views and clicks than everything else.
Oh my
Like everybody's
goodness.
trying to figure this out.
Everyone. You know what we haven't spent a lot of time talking about is um, all the ways in which people are monetizing to help people not get vaccinated, whether it's like fake cards, exception, things to help people like figure out what the exception is and how they qualify. And it almost reminds me of like all these businesses that now exist today with marijuana becoming more and more accepted, whether it's for medicinal, like let's just use medicinal as an example. Like there's a whole industry and all this money being made to help people get a medical card for marijuana. And I think it's like, this is all a sham, but like it probably is going to be the same with vaccines. It's crazy. People are out there making money, just helping people get exceptions and getting the cards.
No, I work with a lady that is, it doesn't want to get vaccinated for her own reasoning, and I'm, supportive of that. And she kind of sits between myself and another lady, and we both got vaccinated and got our vaccine cards. And she took one of the vaccine cards and literally within 90 seconds had a vaccine card made for herself that looked exactly like ours. Like that's how easy that is to make a vaccine card. And so, like that. And then like one of those requirements for the federal mandate is that as employers now, we have to get a copy of, and verify these vaccine mandate or the vaccine card, and then keep it on file, like almost like an I-9 form. And you're just like, really, this is what we need to do more of this. Come on. Like
you're going to have an employee file, one section with their I-9. Actually, you got to keep the I-9s outside of the employee file, but you're going to have binders now, binders of I-9s, binders of vaccination cards. We're going to have binders upon binders of documents.
Hey, one more thing from the mandate. So we talked about who's going to pay for this. And basically OSHA came out and said, oh, well, you can have the employee, right, that chooses not to get vaccinated, you can force them to pay. Can you imagine, like, for how many people we're trying to recruit right now, for how many openings we have, that if you went out to your employees and said, hey, every single week, you're going to have to pay for $100 test or whatever. I don't even know how many, like, it has to be at least $100, right? For a PCR test, or 89 or 79 or whatever. I mean, it's probably 13 cents, but the way our healthcare system works, it's $99.
Definitely.
And so we're going to now go out and say, oh, by the way, you 1,000 employees who don't want to be vaccinated, you now have to pay an extra $100 a week to get yourself tested, and you're going to pay for it. They would leave in a heartbeat. So so all that money is just going to go back on us as employers, right? To have to pay for that cost. So
you mentioned OSHA,
welcome to HR Famous, everybody.
Yes.
We're having really positive conversations about these goddamn vaccines.
Well, but another positive thing, you mentioned OSHA, and I am just really tickled by the fact that as HR people, you and I have known who OSHA is, what OSHA is, because like, we're HR people, but OSHA, like, congrats, OSHA employees, OSHA lifers. Like, your agency has now gotten like on the main stage, and everyone knows OSHA because of this situation. And I'm just happy for them because before they were this little obscure federal like sub agency who probably weren't getting a lot of attention, wasn't the hot place to work, and people would probably say, oh, I work for OSHA, and they're like, what's OSHA? But now you are OSHA. Yeah, everyone knows who you are. So congrats, OSHA federal employees. You've made it. You're on the big stage, prime time.
Hey, it reminds me of OFCCP, right?
Oh,
like
gosh.
we're all worried. Like if you're an HR person, you know what OFCCP means, and we're all like super scared we're going to get audited and it's going to cost us thousands of dollars. And now OSHA's going, hey, if you break this mandate, for every instance, you could get charged $13,000. It's the same OFCCP like fear. Like basically, it's almost like finding a needle in a haystack because there's millions of employers. Everybody is going to have like a complete craziness going on, and OSHA is literally going to be like, every once in a while you're going to see like a news article that someone got hit with like $120,000 fine, because they didn't have the mandates right or whatever. And I'm like, it's literally like Katie and I were texting back and forth on this the other night, and I'm like, the chances of somebody catching a small employer, it's literally, you probably have a better chance of getting hit by lightning, right, than getting caught by OSHA for not following the vaccine mandate. I mean, that's how crazy and big this thing is. Like, there's no possible way, for all the kudos you want to say, hey, OSHA, you hit the big time. They are probably so underfunded and underwhelmed from without staff. Like, they have no way that they can follow up on this stuff.
None. Thanks for leaving
None.
me out of this text thread you were having with Katie the other night. Just more, just leaving me out.
Is that what you wanted? You wanted to be on a vaccine mandate OSHA text thread?
Actually, no. Sometimes, because Katie's a night person and I'm a night person as well, but we're in a 1 hour time difference of time zone. Sometimes I'm like, what are you reading? It's 11:30 at night. And why, like, I'm trying to watch my, like, Real Housewives or catch up on The Voice. And like, he's just texting about like something. He just reads all the time. It's all he does is just read and text.
When I'm in Utah, I think it's the best for all three of us because I go to sleep before you guys. So I usually wake up to like 27 messages from you guys. But if I'm in Utah, it's perfect because you're East Coast, Katie's Central, and I'm Mountain. And we all are really on the same like biological clock at that point. It fits us the best.
Night owl.
All right. Let's stop talking about vaccine mandates. We're going to be dealing with that forever. So, Jay, I sent you a really interesting article that was on CNBC, and it had to do with Kal Penn. Do you know who Kal Penn is?
I sure do.
Harold and Kumar.
That's right. Loving those White Castle burgers.
Yes. Harold and Kumar. And then, I mean, that's his like claim to fame for his first movie, but he's had a really kind of robust career in acting ever, kind of coming up throughout. At some point when President Obama was going through his first election, Kal Penn was a big backer and decided, hey, I want to come and help with, the Obama administration in terms of getting them elected. And then at some point, I guess he decided, hey, maybe and so he did. And he was obviously, kind of a movie star and TV star. And I think he did that for like 18 months. And he decided, hey, I want to get a job with the White House. I think maybe still act on the side, of course, but I want to see if I can get a real job because he got really engaged with the political process. And he was just so hopeful, right, with Obama. We all had hope. And he wanted to do it. So he went out and did what every person should do, Jay. He went on whitehouse.gov to the career site and he applied for a job.
You think they use Taleo? What do you think they use? Are they iSims, Taleo?
No. It has to be a homegrown. I'm almost positive 100%
Workday.
positive.
They're a Workday customer.
They are not Workday. It's a homegrown, kind of probably like some access database that they paid $14 billion to have somebody develop, and it doesn't work. So anyways, he went out to the career site for the White House, which I'll be honest, I just figured it was like a full government, so I didn't think the White House had their own career site. But apparently they do. And he applied for the job, and guess what happened? Kal Penn, movie star, applied for a job with the White House, working for his friends, Barack and Michelle, that they knew him personally. They loved having him on the team.
Well, so he applied. I wonder, like, did he upload a resume? Was it parsed? Did he have to put his individual work experiences? How does he do it movie by movie? So I'm very curious about that, but I'm just going to assume he attached a resume, a CV. I'm
pretty sure he didn't have a LinkedIn profile.
But no, he probably put in his IMDb URL, and that was his that was part of his submission. So he applied. I'm going to guess he probably did get an automated message to say, thanks for your application. Here's how you can check back on it. And then, like most other job seekers, probably never heard from anyone ever again. Definitely didn't get a TNT letter.
He got nothing. Black hole.
A nothing
Kal Penn.
burger. The candidate
he got a nothing
black
burger.
hole.
Harold and Kumar go to White Castle, got nothing. You get
Nothing
nothing,
burger.
Kal Penn. And so here's the funny thing, though. So about 2 months later, there was a big White House gala. Is it gala?
Gala.
That he was invited to. Both Barack and Michelle were there. He took his agent, because obviously he's a movie star and TV star. And the only person that knew that he had applied to this job at the White House was his agent. So they were talking to Michelle.
By the way, I
having,
really like his transparency. Just like someone should tell their boss, like, I'm exploring it. He told the agent, I think I might want to take a break from acting.
yes,
I know that's
yeah,
going to mean you're not going to get a cut of my, salary, but I'm going to
yeah,
explore this thing. What a good, like, rule
right,
follower. I love it.
for sure. And so so they went to the gala. They ran into Michelle. Just run into Michelle
Hey,
Obama.
Michelle.
Hey, Shelly, what's up? And they were talking, and he kind of mentioned, like, oh yeah, I thought about coming to work, for the White House, and I applied to the job. And she's like, what? Like, I didn't hear about this. And then he goes, no, I went through whitehouse.gov. And she looked at him incredulously, like, you what? Like, what moron applies to a job on a website, you idiot? Not only did she kind of give him that look, she called over her husband, the president, Barack Obama, and said, hey, honey, can you come here a sec? Cal did something that I want you to laugh at. And of course, Barack laughed at him and said, why didn't you just text me, because you have my number, and say, I want to come work for you, get me a job?
Hey, everybody. Got a quick question for you. Is your job easy, stress-free, and full of rainbows and sunshine every single day? Yeah, I'd say that's a big fat no. Hi, I'm David Noe, host of Speakeasy HR, presented by Payroll Partners, and proud to be part of the Work-Defined community. Take a step down into my Speakeasy live on LinkedIn and YouTube, where we tackle HR and business challenges through raw, uncut, unfiltered conversations. This is HR like you've never heard it before. Bold, real, and full of practical takeaways. Real guests, bold insights, authentic conversations that drive change. Catch every episode on demand through your favorite podcast platform or all the content at speakeasyhr.com.
And so that's ultimately what he did, right? And he ended up getting a job and working for the White House. But you and I both thought, like, this is an amazing story for how inept the hiring process is of the White House, that a movie star could apply, and there wasn't one person in the TA staff of the White House that said, maybe we should talk to somebody about this guy.
Well, you know what I am curious about is perhaps he did not frame up his experiences in such a way where they saw the transferable skills. And so they were
Exactly.
like, oh, you're an actor. Like, what are you going to do for us? Right. So, maybe it was his bad for not like telling the story right of what he has to offer. But I will share with you, equally, as so I have a personal story here.
You also worked for Obama?
No, but I will tell you, living in the DC area, one of the things that I've actually thought about quite a bit, and I won't do it now because I love what I do and who I work for, but I actually have thought about at some point, maybe I do want to go work for the federal government and help fix hiring.
No,
well,
no,
but
it would eat you alive. It would eat you alive.
It would, but
There's
if
no
I'm not
way.
like up to the task, then who is going to be up for the task? And so I will share with you that at one point I actually did do the exact same thing Kal Penn did. And so I say some of these things jokingly about like what was the process at the time. It might have been the exact same website Kal Penn went to. It was attach your resume. Tell us, do you have an interest in a particular agency or initiative of the administration? And it was, I think I got a form response, never heard from anyone ever again, ever. And so it's like they missed Cal, they missed me, and now they have fully lost their chance because I'm not going to go work for the federal government. But like, there's obviously something wrong with the process where I'm not getting called, neither is Cal. That's not good. I'm like A player talent here.
Yeah, we are so bad at this. at hiring. Like the world is
Awful.
so bad at hiring. We're so bad. So for those like who are sitting there going, I wonder what Penn did for the White House. He worked for the Obama administration as the principal associate editor in the White House Office of Public Engagement. So you're probably right, Jay. He probably put his like resume in there, which was all acting stuff. And they were like, dude, you don't match anything. There would be no AI on the planet that would have actually matched Kal Penn to a job in the White House.
No.
After that, he became the co-chair of Obama's re-election campaign. So a really, really big job. And then Obama appointed him to a committee on arts and humanities. So he definitely served some public time there for quite a long time, from like 2009 to 2013. By the way, he still actually did some acting roles during that time as well. I probably did on the weekends. You fly out to LA, shoot a couple scenes, do your thing, come back, work for the Obamas.
Got to stay active in that Screen Actors Guild, have that union card, get your benefits covered.
You know what? I'm guessing he probably found some like government, like he was working like, some White House TV show, like government show that, he's like, oh, now I have all this background. I know what's going on. So yeah, I do. If there's anybody there that works for the White House and TA, please reach out to us. I would love to know what ATS you use. And I'm guessing it's homegrown, and it was probably made in like, the Cold War era, and it has a green screen, because I doubt it's anything that's any good.
It's an access database. But no, so for real, for federal, it's an access database. But for the federal government, so you've got all these different agencies, White House being one of them. But that's the thing. Like, they don't have an integrated solution across all of the federal government. And so every agency manages it differently. You also have the, I don't think they call it the Department of Personnel anymore, but whatever the people agency is of the government, like it's not even integrated. And like the whole process is really antiquated. Like if I told you guys about the quote unquote expedited hiring process that my husband went through recently in the federal government, because he took on a new role, their expedited process like literally took, I think, like 4 months. And that was considered the expedited process. It's insane.
A few years ago, we had a contract with the DoD to do some hiring for engineering talent for them. And we did it on a contract basis, right? So then our contractors would actually start and work in these facilities. And then that allowed like the government then to say, oh, we have a really good engineer doing this job, have them apply and go through the process. And so they could actually hire them. And it would take over a year to get our people that were doing the job successfully, that the hiring manager said, yes, I want this person, over a year to get through the process to hire them.
It's crazy.
Insane.
It's insane. Yes. But that's why I say, I know you say it would drive me bonkers, but that might be my retirement job, is that I'm going to go work for the federal government. I'm going to say, I'm going to bring all my private sector sensibilities. I did work in the public sector when I was younger, although it was local municipalities, state level. But I feel like they need someone who can bring private sector sensibilities. I just know that I can't apply on the website. I'm going to have to know the president who's going to say, hey,
no, the only way anybody would ever impact hiring at the federal level would be, you'd have to be in the cabinet, and it would have to be like a job czar, right? You'd have to have that high of connection. Like,
I want that job title, job czar.
Job czar. It would be you,
Czarina.
and then you walk into President Chris Dunn's office and say, Chris, I need to do this. And he's like, yes, whatever.
Oh my gosh. Do you think Chris would ever run for president? Christian Dunn 2032. That sounds, I'm going to get the URL.
We have to wait until he's like 76 before, that's like the average age of a president nowadays. So
that's young, 70s.
All right. Next topic. And this, I sent you this and you laughed because it was from the New York Times, and you're like, you read the New York Times? Of course I read the New York Times. I read all the media that's out there, with a slanted view for sure. And so you'll love the title for this one. And it's the 37-year-olds, which you are pretty close to, are afraid of the 23-year-olds who work for them. And it was about Gen Z and the boldness that Gen Z is showing in the workplace. And so I just sent it with you with a question going, are you afraid of all these 20-somethings working for you, Jay? Are you?
I mean, is afraid the right word? I mean, I will say to you that the fellow millennials that I work with, those of us that are the geriatric millennials, we do have a little bit of like insecurity around no longer being the young kids on the block, and like
Yeah,
these
yeah,
Gen
yeah.
Zs are all like, you guys part your hair too hard on the side and you like pumpkin spice lattes and you're wearing skinny jeans and you guys are so chuggy. And so is there a level of insecurity? Probably yes. Am I scared of them? I don't know about that.
I think the problem is not that we're scared of them, and I can't put myself in the millennial generation, so I'm not really scared of anybody. I'm a Gen Xer. But I don't think we're scared of them. I think they're fearful of nothing is the difference, right? And one of those things, and I heard somebody talk about this the other day, is you think about most Gen Zs, it started in 97. And the first time they hit the workforce was just coming out of the Great Recession. And then we have all this prosperity, right? We have these years of prosperity that happen, and they've had no downturns. They had this pandemic, but the pandemic was, for most of these people, was not a downturn. It was just another way, kind of like a change in the work world more than anything. And I don't think they've gone through like a hard recession or even a light recession where all of a sudden they're like, oh crap, I lost a job and I can't act like an asshole anymore. Right. There's no fear about what they want to say or what they want to do, because they're like, whatever, like, I don't need this job. I'll just go get another job tomorrow, and screw you guys if you don't like my opinion that I came in here 13 seconds ago and I think I know more than you. I think that becomes one of, and again, that's a broad stroke. So for those going, I'm not that person, like, calm your ass down. But no, there's definitely, I think, like New York Times said, boldness. It's a confidence that I think is maybe a little too overconfident, right? From they don't know their, like, I want to say they don't know their place within the hierarchy of corporations, right? Like, we all had to go through this of, hey, we're new. You kind of sit on, you can't sit at the boardroom table. You sit in that second row against the wall, and you just listen and keep your mouth shut, hand papers to your boss. We all went through some seasoning like that to kind of get us ready so that when we opened our mouth, we didn't sound like a complete idiot. Yeah. And and again, I have a lot of young people that work for me, and I think we hire good people and we try to give them a space where they can share their opinions. But for a lot of times when you're so green, Jay, like, you just sound stupid. Like, when you open your mouth, it's like, will you just be quiet for a minute and listen? And again, there's like, oh, we know so much more and we have the internet and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, yeah, whatever. Okay, good for you.
But is this a movie that we've seen before? And I guess I have to ask you that when we say, is this a movie we've seen before? Because is this any different from when millennials were, when
No.
Is this just the same thing? We're just in this next cycle. You've seen this movie before.
Yeah, I think the difference being is, like, the millennials came out of the Great Recession, and so there's some of you had like a really, really hard time getting your first job or second job, or you lost a job and got laid off, and so there's a little bit of scarring that takes place where you're a little more cautious in sharing your opinion or just spouting off on something, or basically just saying, oh, well, I don't like this job, bye, like, or not even calling the next day and not showing up and just you could get away with stuff like, they can get away with stuff like that right now. I never wish for a recession. I think it's horrible, and people lose jobs and people lose houses, and it's just bad financially all the way around. But at some point, like, Gen Z is going to face a recession, and I think it's going to be this gigantic, like, wake up call for them going, oh, wait a minute. I can't just willy-nilly say anything I please at any time to anybody. Like, no, turns out.
No, it's not how it works. But what I do wonder is, like, yes, the Gen Zers will learn the ways of this world at some point. However, how do we not lose, like, some of that boldness or fearlessness? Because I do think that there's something, like, that is so, like, amazing about, like kids and the level of honesty they have, or just the lack of insecurity and, the desire to be provocative or just say what you really think, that maybe that's part of what, like, Gen Z not being afraid of things. Because like the more you censor and edit yourself, you just become a corporate drone wearing a suit like everyone else. And like, you're just wah, 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 wah. I'm like another business person. And, to not lose that boldness and fearlessness, I think is something that I wonder about. Like, how do you find that balance? Because, I think to the credit of the Gen Zs of the world, there's a lot of amazing progressive things that, I'm broad brushstrokes, that this generation is so zeroed in on around climate, about the environment, about social justice. And it's like, you don't want to squash all of that, but you also want them to still understand the realities of being a grown-up in corporate America.
So you're continuing to rise up the corporate ladder into these wonderful leadership positions. How would you mentor a 23-year-old that you think maybe is, has great potential and possibility, maybe even some great ideas in there, but is like kind of coming across too hard, too fast?
Well, one of the things that I've been talking with some of the people I work with lately are about, and this is a lesson that I have learned as I have grown, and especially as I become a parent. And this is not something I understood like 10 years ago, even 10 years ago, around the value of the differences that people bring to the table and how to like play off those strengths. And it's not an easy conversation, because I remember being that way, where it's like, I want everyone to be like me. My way is the best way, and I'm the best possible like person you want on the team, and everyone should be like me, as opposed to, the different strengths and other things that that folks bring to the table. And so I think like in a mentoring kind of conversation, that's one of the things that I think is important to draw out. But I don't know, like some of this is like, are they going to listen even if I give them that advice and talk to them about it? You just like learn these things in time, right? You don't want to listen to anyone.
Yeah, I just you never want to see a young person have a career derailer, right? Where they're like, they just takes them off the line where they should be going. I always like, my advice is, to younger people, and like I said, we hire quite a few, is, directly to a boss or another senior level person that you work with that you trust. Try first to go to them privately, right? And say, hey, here's what I'm thinking, and like run it by some folks. It doesn't have to be many; it just be just one that you trust, and see the reaction before you come into like a conference room of 12 people and just go, here's what I'm thinking. And because like people are like, whoa, like maybe there's a better way, right? From that standpoint. And again, that might be just having a little bit of political savviness, or trying to get, give yourself, some bumpers. But I thought it was funny that, that the New York Times said, hey, these geriatric millennials are afraid of all these 20 somethings. And I'm like, I don't know any that are afraid.
You know what I didn't look at is who wrote the article. She was probably a Gen Zer, 19, maybe 22, just graduated from some journalism program at some really good school and is a great writer. It's like, I got a story for you, editor. And this is just a big F you to her editor, probably.
It was Emma Goldberg, which I doesn't say her age, and gosh, I don't even want to say this based on her picture, like how old she might be. Here I go. She graduated from Yale in 2016, so she is definitely a Gen Z. But Yale grad, super smart girl. Hey, good for her. I wish I could graduate from Yale. Maybe I can someday. That could be something I want to do.
Wow. Yale undergrad, University of Cambridge for her master's. I mean, this is a talented person.
Right. And then right to New York Times.
That's pretty
like, hey, you can't beat that. The New York Times tends to get just about anybody they want from all the media companies, right?
You know what's so interesting? So they just named her the Future of Work reporter. That's like her new title. She went from researcher to Future of Work reporter. We are going to see a lot more of this hard-hitting journalism around.
Hard-hitting journalism from Emma, who never had a job besides the job she got at the New York Times.
Oh, man. I'm obsessed with her. I'm going to have to keep learning more about her.
Yes. Awesome. All right. Hey, you have anything you want to get before we get out of here?
You know what? I just can't
Any shout
wait.
outs?
Well, I just want to say I can't wait to get my booster because I really do miss traveling. And it's so nice to see people in real life. And so it was wonderful, Mr. Tim Sackett. And I
Yeah.
just it was great. It was so nice to see you. And so next time, I don't know, I'm not going to go to any like SEC or whatever games that you and Katie go to, but I don't know.
You should though. It'd be fun.
I would just like to tailgate. I'm fine with that.
So Jay took me to a one Michelin star place. I've never been to even any Michelin star place. So
really? I didn't know that. Oh, okay.
Yeah. And again, I love food, so like it was great. At the end, they had dessert, and one of the dessert was oatmeal cookies, and you were like, "Do not order cookies." And I'm like, "I want 2 cookies." And the lady goes, "Well, there's 3 cookies in an order," and you're like, "Only 1 order." And then you're like, "I'm not going to eat a cookie," and then you ate a full cookie. So there you go. I ate 2 cookies. Jay ate 1 cookie.
It was delicious. By the way, after I dropped you off, I got lost going home. And it took me a lot longer to get home than I was expecting. I was like, damn it, where am I? I didn't even know where I was. I was really confused. But
yeah, and shout out to the Marriott property Morrison House in Alexandria. I stayed there.
Part
nice
of the
place.
autograph collection. Yeah. Love it.
Awesome place. Awesome staff. Had a good time. Had no problem with my flights. Delta, another shout out to there because I had bad flights for United, and I'm told United I'm never going to fly with them. If it was going to save my life, I wouldn't fly United.
Oh, so no, I'm a United flyer. I like United.
Yeah, I'm a Delta guy, so kind of like that. All right, everybody. For Jessica Lee, I'm Tim Sackett, HR Famous. We are out, and next week we will have Katie back with us. See everybody later.